Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the West Junction Football Show, our usual Monday night roundup, looking at the latest goings on across our region and beyond tonight, as we'll also be taking a little bit of a look ahead to the World Cup that, of course, starts later this week on Thursday evening. I'm Chris Bell, delighted to say, joined as ever by Gareth Walker and by Stephen Downs. How are we doing, gents? We well?
Good, mate.
Yeah, I'm all right. You?
Yeah, all good, all good. It's been a couple of weeks, to be fair, since we've done this. We obviously ended up with a couple of things that were going on, and then it got to the Bank Holiday weekend. And obviously, that was the playoff weekend. I thought, it's great, we'll go after that. But then Bank Holiday weekends never quite go to plan. And then, yeah, before you know it, we're what 4 weeks after the last Monday show, and the World Cup is approaching. So yeah, all good here. Good to be back.
I forgot what you both look like, to be honest.
I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Wow. Gaz, sorry for Chris's offensive comment there. You look beautiful, mate.
Cheers, Paul. So do you.
We will touch on the sides of our region. We'll touch on, in particular, Huddersfield Town and Bradford City. Leeds United fans, Jay and Brownie, they did a stream earlier on today when they were kind of dissecting the Leeds United squad and what they would do with it in terms of looking ahead to next season, in terms of keep or sell. So Leeds fans, you can check that one out on there. But Leeds fans, you'll also be England fans, so stick with us for a look at the World Cup a little bit later on. We'll start with you guys then for Bradford City, because in the words of Stephen Downs, nothing's bloody happened at Town. So we'll start with City, where there has been a little bit of activity and things to talk about. First things first, we'll talk about probably the departure that seems to have caused a little bit of a mixed reaction across the fan base, and that's Max Power's departure to Wigan.
Yeah, Dowsy says no, what's happened at Town. They have got a new manager, to be fair.
They have,
so
they have. We will berate you on that one.
He's right. There's been more happened at City. Max Power's gone. Weird one, really. We obviously brought him back to the country from Denmark last summer, came in to replace Richie Smallwood, who was obviously the captain when we got promoted. Max Power came in, took the number 6 shirt, took the captain's role, took the midfield general role, and had a reasonably good season without being outstanding. But I think it's mainly the fact that we're going to obviously we're losing our captain in the middle of a 2-year contract. I think his leadership is probably what we'll miss more than him as a player, although, like I say, he didn't have a terrible season. He had an all right season. He captained us to the playoffs and obviously was a big figure in the dressing room. City have been very quiet on it, which perhaps gives you an indication of what the feeling might be at the club about it. Personally, it just doesn't sit well with me. Your captain walking away 12 months into a 24-month contract. It just doesn't sit well with me. I don't think it's a good look for Max Power. From a City point of view, we've got to look to do what we've done before and upgrade on him, like we upgraded on Richie Smallwood to get Max himself. We need to now look at upgrading on Max Power and going to the next level if we can.
As you say, kind of City have been fairly quiet about it all, really, as you would expect them to be, I guess, as the club. Are we reading into that then that it actually behind the scenes, there's probably quite a few pissed off people, to be honest, including, of course, Graham Alexander, but he's also come to the conclusion that it's easier to just let him go if he wants to go, take some money for him and get him out of the building and kind of look to crack on without him.
That's all you can assume. I mean, they've not said anything, so I can't put words in the club's mouth, but I can just speak from a personal point of view. And that is how I feel. Yeah, if he wants to go, it's no good keeping him if he wants to go, especially with him being club captain. If he wants out, you've got to let him go. I just don't think, personally, like I say, it's a bit of a sore one, just because, like I said, we brought him back in from Denmark. We gave him a route back into English football. He'd been in Saudi Arabia and Denmark for 2 years. He did release a statement that the club published on the website. Basically, he talked about the commute and how he wasn't happy with the commute from where he was living. He does live a lot closer to Wigan. He's big mates with Gary Caldwell, who's the Wigan manager, who signed him previously for Wigan, and his lad is in the academy at Wigan. But when the fact that
let's put those at the top of Power's list of reasonings. Let's be honest, because I'm not buying this commute bullshit.
Well, exactly. That's what I wanted to come on and say. I don't. The commute.
You're professional footballer. Like, I travel the M62 for work, as you guys know, for footballing reasons. Like, I know it can be a ball ache at times, but it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to come. That's what I wanted to come on to saying, that there'll be people that do a lot bigger or a lot worse commute than him. Yeah, the M62 can be a nightmare. We know that. But there'll be people who travel a lot further than he does to get to training every day. He knew where the training ground was and he knew where the club was when he signed the deal a year ago. That's not changed. So for me, it's only become an issue for him. I can only assume that the issue's becoming the commute has become an issue for him when Wigan have come in for him, because it didn't appear to be an issue before then. Like I say, he's mates with Gary Caldwell. Gary Caldwell signed him before. His lad's in the academy at Wigan. He lives closer to Wigan. They're the reasons for me. And he's talked about the commute, but it don't wash. I think that's only become an issue when he's realised that his mate wants him back at Wigan. And obviously that is his club. It'll be his third spell at Wigan. It's his club. It'll be his third spell there.
Yeah.
And personally, I don't think it's like... It can't be to do with ambition, because I don't see Wigan at the moment. I don't see Wigan doing anything next season. You know, I don't see them being up challenging. You know, they had a pretty poor time of it this year, I think, personally. You know, they didn't spend a lot of money. Now, whether that changes under Gary Caldwell going forward, who knows? But I don't see it. I don't see that as an ambitious move. I think you're right, guys. I think the only thing is it's to do with him living closer to Wigan and his lads there and his big mates with Gary Caldwell, and probably on the back of that knows that it don't really matter who Wigan's going to bring in this summer. Max Power probably will be one of the main men, which at City, you know, he might have thought the club want to probably push on from what they've done this season. And I might not be an automatic starter or whatever, even if
I reckon that, if I'm completely honest, I think there's a fair chance that Wigan will finish above Bradford next season. I'm not necessarily saying that that's going to be Bradford finishing 12th and Wigan finishing 6th. I think that could be Bradford finishing 12th and Wigan finishing 11th, to be honest. I think it's been very hard at the moment for Alexander to replicate last season, next season, because I think it's going to be a much harder division. I think there'll be a lot of sides that will strengthen this summer. I think Wigan actually might well be one of them, because for me, Wigan are a little bit of what's smaller than a giant but bigger than average. They're not a sleeping giant, but they are a sleeping something that's not as big as a giant, but they are still a pretty good sized club for the league, I think. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Wigan strengthen, especially under Caldwell, to be fair. It'll be.
I don't think there'll be lots of money, though. I don't think there'll be lots of money, personally.
No, but if they're in a position where they're able to pay a fee, to be fair, for someone like Max Power to bring him back, then that shows that they've got more money than I thought they had in the first place, to be fair. So it'll be interesting to see. Don't forget, whilst we're on about all things Huddersfield and Bradford, and then on to World Cup, you get your comments in as well. Just on the comments, you can tell that we've been away for a while, because Ben, our resident Huddersfield fan, has just gone batshit in the comments repeatedly. He completely agrees with me about Wigan finishing above Bradford. What I failed to mention, though, Ben, is I also see Bradford and Wigan finishing above Huddersfield next season. we'll come on to that in due course.
And I love that you've said that to try and get a bite from Ben, because you know you're not going to get a bite from me, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
To be fair, we'll come on to it, but a quick spoiler for you, Ben, is that Steve is predicting Huddersfield to finish 14th next season. So yeah, have that.
Anyway, I do want to ask guys, what fee are you getting for him?
Well, this is it. We don't know. We've got a fee for him. It's undisclosed, but also the fee that we've paid for Jake Beasley is undisclosed. So it does make me, because we don't really spend money on players. We don't have the money to go out there and spend it. It makes me wonder if the fee that we've taken for Power is the fee that we've given for Beasley. I don't know on that.
150 grand?
I'm guessing.
200 grand?
I have absolutely no idea. But the fact that we've got a fee for a 33-year-old with 1 year left on his contract, it isn't necessarily a bad thing. He's obviously also, you got to remember, he's got a 2-year deal at Wigan when he only had 1 year left on his deal at Bradford. So it could be, again, we're guessing because the club haven't really said anything. It could be a case of he's gone to him and said, I've got 2 years offered me at Wigan, and City have said, well, we're not giving you a new contract now. It could be that. I don't know. We're guessing because the City, they haven't actually said anything, so we don't know.
I imagine they'll pay higher wages than City as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their financial situation's like. Obviously, I know that we don't throw money around because we don't have money to throw around. So it could well be, it could well be that they're paying paying him more. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But like I said, I don't know what their financial situation is. I don't know what their owner did. They get bought out not long ago? I honestly can't remember.
I can't remember. I feel like they might have done, but it's been that long since I've really taken any form of dive into looking at Wigan Athletic that I'm not quite sure, to be fair.
Well, Whelan's son's not involved in it anymore, is he? I know that.
No.
Well, his grandson is David Sharp at City.
Didn't they get bought by like a Qatari or Saudi people or something like that, but not like people with money?
You know what? Let me just quickly do what we should have done earlier and
they're one of those clubs, Wigan. They're one of those clubs, Wigan, that you never really pay any attention to because they don't do anything.
Yada. On the 14th of June 2023, Wigan-born billionaire and Wigan Warriors co-owner Mike Danson bought the club and immediately repaid all creditors, including staff, because at the time they did have some debt. So basically, I think what we can take from that is they're stable financially without throwing money left, right, and centre, to be fair.
Yeah,
I think it's probably the bottom line.
I knew they didn't have money. I thought it was foreign ownership.
Well, yeah, he's a billionaire.
Yeah, like it's one of those though. Like you can own a club without spunking transfer fees left, right, and centre, can't you? That's the thing. You can
Kevin Nagel.
You don't have to be a Kevin Nagel about it. Also, I feel like we're running a very fine line tonight. Yeah, let's just carry on. As you say, one fee that you have paid out is Jake Beasley. Across from what I've seen, not just from Bradford fans, but a lot of League One fans, basically are quite envious of that one because it's a strange one. He's Bees because he's never necessarily been prolific. Obviously, I remember him. He was at Rochdale when I started there in League Two a few years ago, and he's never necessarily been the most prolific in front of goal. But he's just such a good player to have on your books in terms of work rate, physicality, never stops running, never stops pressing. And on the face of it, from what we know of Alexander's style in particular last season, he should fit the bill to lead that line perfectly, Gaz.
Yeah, I think that's the key, isn't it? It's his style of play, the way he plays. He's 110%, never stops running. That is music to Alexander's ears. It's music to City fans' ears. He should fit in really nicely in that sort of central striker's position with which we play with, obviously, Poynton and normally Sarcevic or Jackson playing off him. That front three now looks like it is a typical Graham Alexander front three. Obviously, we played Stephen Humphreys in that central role and it didn't really work out. A lot of people think he's better coming off the left. Personally, I just think I don't like saying it, but I don't think he puts the effort in that he needs to put in sometimes. And obviously we know we will get that with Jake Beasley. The lad I can't remember, he got 13 or 14 goals for Burton last season. Hopefully in a side that creates more chances, we will see at least that return from him again. It's an interesting one because it actually been confirmed in the press that we've tried to sign him in the past. Even as long ago as when Mark Hughes was manager, we looked at bringing Jake Beasley to the club. At the time, he went to Blackpool, who were at least one, if not two divisions above us, and obviously blew us out of the water financially. But he's had you look at his stats, it's not like you say, Chris, he's never been really prolific, but he's got a respectable record wherever he's been in terms of goals. And I think, like we've said already, it's his work rate, his ability to hold the ball up, and the fact that he's decent in the air. But mainly that work rate and that non-stop attitude and run is going to be absolutely ideal for what we want from him, and hopefully he'll fit in nicely into that front three. And he looks a good signing to me. And based on what other fans of other clubs have said, I think most people seem to agree.
Yeah, no stranger either to Bradford as a city, having played for Bradford Park Avenue early in his career, and he's on loan from Salford City. So it'll be a good one, I'm sure, for City for next season. Keeping with Bradford City, the match for men, of course, took place to raise money for M&D, and obviously for the Bradford City former right back Stephen Darby is the main link to that cause for Bradford City. But of course, Kevin Sinfield was along as well in recent days, Gaz, and by all accounts, a huge success as ever. The match for men.
Yeah, it's actually called Match of the Day, Chris. Which
That's
is obviously
Match of the Day. Sorry.
I put on Match of the Day. I'm just reading because I wanted to make sure I got it right. It's a 340-mile walk around 44 football and rugby league grounds, and it was done between June the 1st and June the 6th this year. It's the third time they've done it. Obviously, it's to raise money, as you just said, for MND, for the MND charities. I'm looking at the giving page now, and they've raised 12,369 quid this year, which is obviously brilliant for MND. We all know the famous figures over recent years that have struggled with that illness and been devastated by the illness. As you say, we've lost some already. Stephen Darby's still battling on. Stephen Darby, a massive, massive part of that Bradford City side under Phil Parkinson 10, 12 years ago. A real favourite at City. I believe, and all we can say is that we continue to wish him the best. He really just City fans loved him like well before this illness came out. About he was affected by the illness, but he was another, as we've just talked about with Jake Beasley, just a never stop, never give in. When he actually left the club, they actually did a compilation. Like you get a goals compilation of a striker when he leaves. Well, when Darbs left, we got a goal line clearances compilation of Stephen Darby because that is the type of player he was. He just never, ever stopped, always gave 100%, always had the right attitude. And like I said, City fans loved him. And we just continue to wish him the best, as we do with everyone that suffers with that horrible illness. And Match of the Day 3 raised, like I said, 12,300 quid for him so far this year. It's the third time they've done it, and I will believe they'll continue to do as much as they can to raise money for that charity.
Again, he also had a loan spell at Rochdale as well before he joined Bradford. So he's another one of those players who's got links between multiple clubs between us.
Just on the back of that as well, obviously Marcus Stewart involved. Obviously it was devastating to hear that he's now lost the use of his arms. An absolute town legend. Before my time supporting the club, however, as with all legends of the club, you get to know them and the careers inside out, really. Part of that sort of early 2000s team and, late 90s. And obviously, unfortunately for Marcus, he was sold famously to Ipswich, and obviously he went on to help Ipswich get promoted instead of Town, which changed the course of Huddersfield Town's history. Going on. That wasn't his fault. That was the fault of an idiotic chairman at the time that made one of the worst decisions the club's seen in its full history. But Marcus Stewart, what an absolute footballer he was. I mean, just a pure Rolls Royce of a striker, knew where the net was. And as Gaz says, wish him from, all the Town fans, wish him, and his family all the very best as well, because it is one of the worst diseases the planet has ever seen, and somebody somehow needs to find some sort of cure for it, because it just ruins people. It's devastating to families' lives and people's lives.
It's interesting you mentioned Marcus Stewart, actually, because I remember him when he were obviously at Town, because I was going to City when we played Town regularly, and he was up front for Town. And then obviously I remember him going to Ipswich, and he actually did so well in the Premier League at one point for Ipswich. There were murmurings of him getting called up to the England squad. They genuinely were, because he had such a good season that I think Ipswich finished like seventh or eighth in the Premier League. They had an amazing season, and he was fantastic.
Yeah, 'cause did he leave? And then was it the season after he left that they were relegated, but also
Possibly.
qualified for Europe? Maybe.
Yeah,
possibly.
correct. Yeah,
He went to
Yeah,
Sunderland, didn't he?
Yeah,
he went to Sunderland.
did well there as well.
I think the thing is, he's much like Stephen Darby, really, and a lot of these people. They're very much. If you read into the backstories, they've very much been liked at every club they've been at. You know, they're just good people, and that's the devastating side of it. You know, good people have got this terrible disease. So you know, it's obviously, like just said, wish them all the best, and anything that anybody can do to support them, please do.
Just before we move on from City, Chris, I just wanted to point out a comment that's come in from Gaznick.
I was about to mention that.
Yeah, just I'm not the only one. Obviously, that seems to be my opinion shared there about Max Power.
Yeah, I think three fans and a pie mascot's a little bit harsh, but yes, the point stands that, let's be fair, it's a lot closer, as you say, than his time in Saudi Arabia and more recently Denmark before he made that move to Bradford. Let's turn to Huddersfield Town then. And look, hey, I mean,
there's no happen, Chris.
You haven't been on and done a show since somebody was appointed manager at Huddersfield. That's how slack you and the Town Talk lads have been. You can appoint Martin Drury, and clearly nobody gives a shit because you haven't even put a show out.
We don't need berating live on air, do we? Come on, you're better than that. Yes, we've appointed Martin Drury and John Stead in the least shocking announcement the world has ever seen. Yeah, it is what it is. I think we all predicted it, so we're not shocked. The club say, I emphasise the word say, allegedly, I emphasise the word allegedly, have gone through a thorough managerial process, an interview process. However, they have clearly made a decision that within that process, Martin Drury and John Stead, I think the more emphasis on Martin Drury here, that Martin Drury is impressed within that interview process and decided to take up the reins as the next permanent head coach. If you want my honest opinion, whilst I'm not shocked, I'm not, unlike a lot of fans that are pretty not happy about it, I aren't devastated about it. I'm not jumping for joy at it. Yeah, you say it's so uninspiring, Paul. Great to have you on the show, mate, as a regular as usual. I get why it's uninspiring. I understand the apathy. I mean, there are people, literally season tickets end, I think it's today or this week. People are looking on the stadium map. There's so many empty seats for season tickets.
I saw that. Even I saw that. I was like, good God.
It's genuinely horrific. I don't think people can underestimate how little the stadium will be filled next year. I mean, if I was the club, I'd be seriously worried on the back of that. But anyway, we are where we are. We haven't been. There is no just to round up, Chris, because it's very quick. There's no transfer. There's no transfer news. We're not really being linked with players. So yeah.
Right, you haven't talked about this for a fortnight or so since it happened, so we're going to get it all out now. Do we not think that, as Paul says about the uninspiring appointments in Martin Drury, do we not think there's a reason you look at the season tickets and you can literally have your choice of where you want to go? You may as well be able to pick the dugout seat at the moment. Let's be honest.
We can't because there's somebody in it.
For now,
there's actually two people in it.
But both the point, do we not think though that appointment for a start is going to have some responsibility to why the season ticket uptake has been so poor? Because, as we said before he was appointed, when whatever this kind of thorough process was of talking to external candidates, they must have been managing the Dog and Duck and the Black Horse or something on a Sunday league afternoon.
Yeah, he's not wrong with Dog and Duck Club.
Because an inspiring appointment in the dugout sells tickets.
Do you know how I? The interesting thing about the interview process, and we don't know how many they interviewed, and we also don't know who they interviewed. However, the only names that really were being presented as possible links was David Wagner, which I don't believe. I think they've asked him 3 or 4 times since Nagel took over the club, and I think David's probably turned around and said, "Look, yes, I've had a crap few years. However, I'm better than League One, and that's fair play to him." So I think that's probably happened in the past. I don't know whether he was interviewed this time around. I don't even know if he was asked. The reason I'm not shocked that they've given it to Drury is because we weren't being linked with any names. And normally you get some sort of links. Normally somebody, the kit man's best mate, or somebody in the
So
kitchen.
and so seen at Mackey's down the road from the stadium. All the usual. Yeah.
But something happens normally, and there's a link, there's a name that comes out, and they just want any. So, am I shocked that season tickets are like they are? No, I've come on here for the last year and gone. It's got to the point now where fans are just not they're not taking the words anymore, and until we see something on the pitch where we can connect with it, like it, and understand it, fans won't be going back. I bought my season ticket, but I'm an idiot, and I say that very, very proudly on air. I am an idiot. Nobody
If I
can
speak,
say
I'm
that.
in trouble.
How many have you sold?
I don't, guys.
About 12?
Genuinely, by the stadium map, I would say it's less than 10,000.
And it's like a 25,000 seater stadium, isn't it?
Yeah. So normally the core support for town fans is around about 13,000 at this level, 12 to 13,000. There's normally about 12,000 hardcore. I don't even think we've sold 10,000.
Right.
I just think it's people's had enough, mate. They've just had enough of words. It's just been words for the last.
Well, this is.
You have to be careful with managers though, because like we've seen it before. Why not try Drury instead? Why not? Because they've tried these big name managers and they've not worked out. I remember like at City, and I know we've got regular viewer Ian in the comments, and he'll remember this as well. But 1998, City appointed Paul Jewell as manager at Bradford. He was Chris Kamara's assistant, and the bloody reaction to that appointment was absolutely horrendous from the City faithful. Mainly because in a similar way to how Drury's got the job at Town, he'd had a caretaker spell after Kamara had been sacked. And I'd argue that he probably did worse in that caretaker spell than Drury's done in his caretaker spell at Town. And when Jeffrey Richmond gave him the job full-time or on a permanent contract, the reaction from City was absolute. The City fans was appalling, mainly because it was slightly different in the respect that City had been on an upward trajectory at the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, from about 1995, 96, we were on an upward curve. And when Richmond gave him the job, the reaction was just, what are we doing? Why?
Yeah.
And look what happened.
But this is the thing, to Town's history.
Worked out in the end.
It worked. It took us up to the Premier League.
Yeah.
But in Town's history, right, we've literally, one of our most successful ever managers is a guy called Mick Buxton, right? It's like in the 70s. It's far back, I know. But he was the club physio.
Yeah,
the club physio.
It works.
He was the club physio, right? And he became, I think, assistant manager first to, I can't remember who it was. And basically, the guy got sacked and they just give it to Mick Buxton. Because it was like, we've got nothing else left. There is no other choice. We are now at a point where we've tried every sort of different manager. We've tried the big names, like you've said, Gaz, or we've tried to attract them. And I said to you, Chris, a number of weeks ago, I think this was even before Manning got left the club permanently. I said I didn't think there'd be a lot of interest in this job, and I think that's proved to be the case. We are a club now that is mad in the managerial world by not giving people either time or the respect that they should be shown. And it's interesting to me that they've made a big thing in these early couple of weeks where Drury's been appointed, saying, and Drury's come out and said this himself, I need to be given time. I need to be. This club has gone through too many managers in too short a spell. I need to be given time. So I expect, by the way, if we start to lose at the beginning of the season, I don't think Drury will get sacked.
I mean, I just want to pick up then on a few of the comments actually whilst we've been talking about that. Ian, firstly agreeing with you, Gaz, remembering that City fans wanted to put all Jewel out early doors, and he's putting brackets Crew, if that means anything to you specifically.
Yeah, obviously, like the reaction when he got the job was bad, but then we started the season really poorly that year, 98-99, and Crew away, I think, and they were basically they were chanting, the fans were chanting Jewel out, and the turnaround was phenomenal, and obviously everyone knows what happened in the rest of that season. We ended up getting promoted to the Premier League, but yeah, early doors that season, Crew away, Jewel out was the chant.
Couple more of the comments. Paul says that he's not got his ticket. He's going to be picking and choosing his matches next season. He says he's not renewed for the first time. Not sad about it. Pick and choose matches next season. Fed up with the false promises. Terry 930. He says he hasn't renewed for the first time in years and will just pick and choose his game next season. And says Drury instead will be gone by Christmas.
And that's fair. Those fans, right? And I've met Terry 930, so I know he's a proper like loyal supporter that's been there, done it. He's watched town for years. You know, we had a good conversation in one of the cafes that we met up in, that we happened to bump into each other. And so I know a fact that he's been for years and years and years, and he's one of the diehards. So if he's going like that, well, what the hell chances as other people got who haven't been going years? I don't know, Paul. I haven't met him in person, but again, he's a regular to the Town Talk show. I know from what he says, he goes in, week out. So I have no reason to disbelieve that he's been watching for Town for years and years and years, just the same. And it's sad. It is sad.
But I mean, this is the thing, though. Is kind of going back to just my original question. Because of the appointment being probably certainly the cheapest appointment that Kevin Nagel will have made during his tenure so far, I say it has got that kind of uninspiring tag. And if that's going some way, not all the way, obviously, but a part of that is for why people are so turned off from buying a season ticket. I mean, am I right in thinking you touched on today? I think am I right in assuming that it's the early bird prices, like your cheaper renewal prices if you do it that ends today or tomorrow?
Ends today or tomorrow, yeah.
So thereafter, like nobody's gonna suddenly really, if they're not renewing before tomorrow, very few will think, oh, actually, I've been inspired by a signing or something. I'm gonna pay the however much of an increase it is to buy on at the weekend or whatever.
No, the fact is that yes, it's an uninspiring appointment, and that will go some way to saying why the season tickets are low. But and this is as much respect as I can give Kevin, right? Fans are sick and tired of words. We're not bothered about words. There was an incident on social media the other week where, and I'm not going to get into whatever happened, but he responded to a fan, and again, it all blew up with the Town fan base, and it's not needed. It's just, and people are just sick and tired of words now. We want action, and I'll be very, very interested to see what comes out of the fans forum that is supposed to be held on the 16th of June that they've announced today. And I think that is a good thing that they're doing, because it goes back to the Dean Oil days. And I think I mentioned that to Kevin when we went to interview him for the podcast with the other podcast teams. So I said, why don't they do it? I said, because that would be one good thing to get fans back on board. It's a shame that Kevin isn't over for that fans forum. However, we have got Chris Markham, we have got David Threlford Sykes, and we have got Drury, and we have got Stead. That's 4 local Huddersfield lads talking to their fan base. You can't get more. To me, you can't get more tangible sort of Huddersfield people in that room as what you're going to have at that fans forum on that stage on Tuesday. It's not possible because Dave's worked for the club for 20 years. Chris Markham's a fan who's come to be the director of football. Martin Drury's born in Huddersfield and raised in Huddersfield. All right, he's gone off to do other stuff. And John Stead literally is a town legend. So, you know what I mean?
I don't want to seem like I'm being critical for the sake of being critical.
No, be critical.
But
I'm not bothered what you say.
Should they not have done this a week ago? Because the problem you've got is you've got this fan forum for right, and just I don't know if you'll know, but I saw when you posted about it earlier in our group chat that it's for season card holders. Now, is that season card holders from last season, or for those that have bought the season card for next season? Do you know?
I believe it's for next season. Let me just have a look at the statement.
Because the thing is, this fans forum, I imagine some of the things that will come out of this fans forum might actually have inspired people to buy a season ticket. The problem therefore becomes, because they're doing this a week after the early bird renewal has passed, is that people might be inspired coming out of that fans forum or by some of the things that come out of it, but also then won't be willing to spend the extra £100 or whatever to buy a season ticket. If they'd have put this on a week ago, there'd have been a week-long window of people to be inspired by what comes out of it before that renewal price then goes up.
So let me just clarify this. So a ticket-only event is this next Tuesday, the 16th of June. The fan forum is free and open to 2026-2027 season card holders only. Room capacity is limited, so supporters should book the free ticket for the evening at the earliest convenience. Please note, supporters aged 14 and under must be accompanied by an adult, of course. Huddersfield Town Head of Supporter Engagement, Robin Kennedale, said, "We're delighted to be hosting the Fans Forum in person ahead of the 2026-2027 Sky Bet League One season, building on previous online events," because they have done online events before, "and continuing our commitment to meaningful supporter engagement as part of our wider fan engagement plan. Events such as this give supporters the opportunity to ask questions directly to senior figures at the club, complementing our ongoing initiatives, including All Together Town, a weekly supporter services drop-in session, and afternoon tea with the chairman." And obviously, blah, 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 you can go on and buy your season ticket for this season. There's two strands to this. One, I'm going to get really technical here for a second, but please forgive me because Town fans will understand what I'm talking about more than probably other people. We have a thing called All Together Town Supporters Group, which is it's figures from the Supporters Association, Cowshed Loyal, other supporters groups, the Town Disabled Group, that can meet people at the club on a semi-regular basis. Those sessions have, unfortunately, the club has decided to drop a number of those sessions. So this forum will now be part of that engagement plan and probably fill the space for some of those sessions that they do. So whilst I think it's good, I think it's also clever by the club because then they don't have to meet these other supporter groups as much on a regular basis. Now, I suggested, like I said, when I met Kevin, that they should do a fans forum because one thing that Dean Oil, the previous chairman, was really good at doing was when the chips were down and and it wasn't looking good, he'd get everybody at Canal Side, he'd get a room, he'd get pie and peas, evening with the fans, cheap beer. People can ask him what the hell they want. Like, it's a no old barred room. It's not recorded, it's not sent anywhere. Fans can just say what they want to his face. And a lot of the time, those evenings worked really well because he calmed the fan base down like massively. And then we normally do quite well after them. Like the team would get back going or whatever, even like under the days of Chris Powell. it'll be really interesting to see what comes out of this fans forum. And I agree with you, Chris. I think you make a fantastic point. Why the hell they didn't do this a week ago on the back of selling season tickets, I have no bloody idea. But it's town. We always do stuff late.
When did you have a fans forum?
When did we last have a fans forum? So we've had on. So over time that Kevin's been at the club, he when he first came in, he did a fan event at what's it called now? The pub, the brewery place. Oh, I forgot his name. Anyway, he did an event there. He hasn't done a fans forum since then. Now, we have done online ones where people can comment on YouTube and it's been streamed. But for me, that's not the same. For me, that is not the same as people being in a room, squaring up to the people in a professional manner. I'm talking not fighting. I'm talking like face-to-face, being with the figures in the room and being able to ask the tough questions because they ain't got anywhere to hide then. They haven't got anywhere to hide in front of a room of 150 people. Because
the reason I asked,
150 people can tell whether they're blowing smoke up their ass. The
reason I ask is because I always thought previously that clubs are meant to do so many a year, aren't they?
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. That's what
so they get round it. What you're saying is they've got round it by doing this online thing.
Well. Yes, but also having the all-together town groups.
Yeah.
So because obviously fans can direct their questions into the Supporters Association and whatever else, and they're supposed to meet with them on a monthly or 3 monthly basis or whatever. But they're taking them sessions down to maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
They found a way around it, didn't they?
Basically. Yeah. It's all to do with the rules, and it's not just town. Every club has a really bad record of meeting supporters on a regular basis. It's not just town.
It's like Paul's just commented that they did proper ones in the Wagner era.
That was in Dean
Nagel era, not so many. But I was what I wanted to say in response to that is, it's easy to do them when things are going well, isn't it? It's not. It's when things are going tough that you need to front up. And Ian's right. At City, we are obliged to do 2 a year, and that City fans are always happy because one of those is always done through Radio Leeds. It's like a live online show where fans aren't present, and some City fans say that it's not a proper fans forum because fans aren't there. The other one that they do, and they're actually City are doing one in, I think it's a week or 2 weeks after the town one. It's the end of this month. That is a proper what you'd call fans forum where fans will be present at Valley Parade. They do that one. They do one of those every year, and then the second one that they do is always through Radio Leeds as like an online show where you send your questions in. So that's how they're the 2 that City do every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You're making the point as well. In the current climate, early bird offers are vital. All clubs will get a slower uptake when the offers runs out. And I'd say that just coming back to me is just a slightly peculiar timing of why announce the fans forum for season ticket holders for next season a week after the early birds have finished.
I'll be there though. I'll be there on a Tuesday night v Bromley. I'll be there.
You will, and I think you're going to the. I think you're going to the forum, aren't you? Or you plan on going to the forum next week. But I did look earlier. I can't remember exactly which World Cup games you'll be missing by being out of the house at that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, on to the World Cup. That is a nice segue, Chris.
Well, I just want to come back just very, very, very briefly because you did say that there was no transfer news. And yet I'm sure when we were on the PlayStation the other day, there was a couple of half-hearted links that were being made to some players somewhere around the world.
Firstly, I don't have a PlayStation, but yeah, I know what you mean. Jaden Wareham has been mentioned, obviously.
That's the badger.
City striker. Scored 25 goals, I think it was, this season. Really good record. I would have him in a heartbeat. The 2 things we're getting Wareham in is A, I'm not sure what his contract status is at Exeter. B, he's very similar to Joe Taylor. I can imagine the club would probably take a punt of trying to sell Joe Taylor on and then getting Wareham in.
As if by magic, Paul mentioned this very earlier in the show. He said there's some clubs sniffing at Taylor. If he thinks if Town sell, it would be a mistake. And a little bit further down as well, Ian was asking, will Taylor be leaving Town, and could he head for Wigan?
I don't think he would go to Wigan. I think we would try and upsell him to a Championship club if we could, because they're the ones that are going to have the main money. Who knows?
It comes back to how much money do Wigan have, like we were talking about before, doesn't it? But I actually saw a rumour the other day. I don't know if you lads saw it, that Skubala might want to take Joe Taylor to Bristol City with him.
Yeah, I mean, if Bristol City are happy to pony up 2.5 million or 2 million, yeah, crack on.
I was going to say they'll probably not necessarily need to. They'll probably not necessarily need to come up with quite that much, because I guess ultimately
he's on a 4-year deal. He's on a 4-year deal at Town.
But at the same time, if he's so out of favour at Town, which he is, I guess the other thing that it'll come down to is you just want to recoup that initial outlay, because you've not had to pay. I know there was a few add-ons, for example, in that deal. You know, X amount of goals, X amount of appearances, etc. And as it stands, you won't have hit any of those clauses. So as long as you recoup back the initial outlay, you might just be glad to get him off the books and be able to put some of that 1.5 mil or whatever towards getting a Jaden Wareham in if he's available.
I would, if you ask me now, I would swap Wareham for Taylor. But I do not want I don't want us to regret selling Joe Taylor and end up with somebody crap coming in, because
Jaden Wareham's got 1 year left on his contract at Exeter.
Yeah,
I just googled that.
If we could get him out of Exeter, how old is he, Gaz? 22, is he?
Hang on a minute, I'll let you know.
We could get him out of Exeter. That would be perfect. I would take, because I really liked him when he's played against us both times.
He's 23, mate.
Yeah, so I mean, he's the similar sort of age to Taylor anyway, and I mean, he's a goal threat. I've been impressed with him. Do the deal, Town. If you can get, I'd get Wareham in before I sell Taylor, but 100% I'd be looking to do that deal. Well, that's about it, Chris. There is no other rumours, unfortunately, my friend.
All I'm saying is just bring him home, bring him back home. That's all we need to do.
Yeah, if you want to pay 1.5 to 2 million, yeah, crack on.
I mean, to be fair, we'll probably end up paying out those sorts of fees now. I think in the Championship anyway, by the sounds of it, from what I'm hearing with some of the players that we've been linked with anyway.
Rich as well.
We're not doing too bad, to be fair. But to be fair, it does seem mad when we've I think the sporting director of football, I think is basically openly said that to compete in the Championship, we're gonna have to start paying like fees for players that are like £1 million. Like, Jesus Christ, this is not us. We haven't done this before, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, Dan, anything else said on Town?
No.
Any more outgoing? So we also saw the unsurprising and sad end to Reece Healy's Huddersfield Town career when he was mutually terminated.
Yeah.
God bless him and his dodgy legs.
Yeah, one of the he'll go down as one of the, well, probably not the worst signing, because we've had a Diamond Diavacarby in a Town shirt, but yeah, just sorry for the lad that he's just, there's obviously some sort of quality there that he's shown in his career, but the lad just needs to retire really and go into something else or go into coaching or whatever he can, because his body's just broken. I thought I'd seen it all when James Vaughan played for us, but Christ almighty. Reece Healy took it to another level, bless him.
Yeah.
I think he played two minutes for Barrow. I think he played 2 minutes in a Barrow shirt.
Well, this is the thing. He got fit, didn't he? He actually got fit, went out on loan to Barrow to get some games, and ended up procting on his debut pretty much. So, yeah, all the best to him. Whenever he ends up doing, I mean, look, it's one of those. You hope he can get fit and get some games home somewhere, and hopefully still be able to kind of see out the remainder of his career as a professional footballer. But yeah, when you had the injury record that he's had, it's difficult. Let's move on then and look ahead to the back end of this week, and the World Cup is upon us, Gaz.
Yeah, starts on Thursday, doesn't it? Mexico against South Africa, am I right?
Correct.
Yeah. What an opening game.
What an opening game. Well, someone said to me, Say again, mate.
It's a weird one that it's coincidentally the opening game of the 2010 World Cup was South Africa versus Mexico.
Someone said to me, why aren't the USA opening the tournament? And it's like, well, because it's across 3 countries and Canada, America and Mexico won't all play at the same time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm quite relaxed about it. I think it's had a bit of a, we've talked about this in the group, haven't we? We've had a bit of, it's been a bit of a low-key build-up to it. And I think mainly that's because a lot of the games are going to, well, not a lot of them, but a decent proportion of them are going to be on at early hours of the morning, aren't they? 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Thankfully, the England games aren't. The England games are 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. I think we're going to meet up for one of them, aren't we? I think the last one, the last England game, we're going to meet up for the Saturday game. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm genuinely looking forward to it.
I mean, I'm just on that, as you were saying about the kickoff times. It is one of the big things, I guess. But then at the same time, it's one of those, like, it can't be helped. Like, I remember, like, Japan and Korea in 2002 when I think we had to get up at the crack of dawn to take in an England game and that sort of thing. It is what it is, isn't it? As I say, 8 o'clock kickoff for Mexico versus South Africa on Thursday night. That's then followed by, and I don't know why there's such a big gap, because there isn't such a sizable gap with a lot of the other late games. But you've then got a sizable gap of 3 a.m. for South Korea versus the Czech Republic, 8 o'clock the same day on Friday for Canada versus Bosnia. After that, you've got 2 a.m. on Saturday morning for the USA versus Paraguay. A little bit better. It's 8 o'clock for Qatar versus Switzerland on Saturday, followed by Brazil and Morocco at 11 p.m., followed by Haiti, Scotland at 2 a.m., followed by Australia versus Turkey at 5 a.m.
I think it's worth pointing out, I think some of these kickoff times, they probably have tried to do the best in the respect that they will kick off when people in those countries can watch the games. I would imagine that's what they've tried to do. Obviously, England games kicking off at 9, 10 o'clock so that we can watch them. I would imagine they've tried to do that with with a lot of the countries. Not saying that they've succeeded, but I would imagine that's what they've tried to do.
I think it's also come down to a lot, though, of selling the TV advertising. So you're advertising globally. So a lot of the more glamorous nations, shall we say, probably get the earlier kickoffs across Europe.
I was just about to say.
Compared to, I mean, obviously Australia versus Turkey, it's 5 a.m. at our time. Actually, will probably work out all right for Australians. But then you end up with like South Korea versus the Czech Republic at 3 a.m. And I can't imagine that suits anyone, because the Czech Republic will be only an hour or two different to us. Look, let's quickly look at the groups. And it's going to be absolutely fascinating. Of course, we're up to this bumper 48-team tournament. What throws it for me and what makes this one certainly different to normal is how many nations aren't there that would usually be, and that's not because of the it's not FIFA's fault at all. It's not the way that it's been set up to have lesser nations qualify or whatever. It's just that a lot of the major nations that we're used to seeing at World Cups have been crap in qualifying, aka no Denmark, no Italy, no Nigeria, no Cameroon. I don't think. Chile. There's so many nations that you would usually see at World Cup that haven't made it, even with this bumper one. And then you've got the likes of, and again, no disrespect, but there's so many first timers, I think, in this one, isn't there? I think this will be a first time for Congo. It'll be a first time for Cape Verde. It'll be a first time for Curacao, for Suriname. It's nuts. It's set up, though, to be really exciting, I think, because of that. There's so many unknowns going into this tournament in terms of how some of these lesser nations will do. Will they fare better because of the climate? Will Haiti put 4 past Scotland? All the things like that. Like, it's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I think for me, there's some. So, like, you look at Argentina's group, right? Anybody in Argentina's group, probably bar Jordan, so Austria and Algeria could get second. Obviously, there's
Jordan are used to the temperatures, though. It's bloody hot over there.
I know, but this is the interesting thing, isn't there? So that will play a big difference. I also think that, there's a large sway of third teams that go through. So
Yes.
I think for me, the group stage is arguably at every World Cup and Euros, the group stage tends to be the best because you have the most goals, the most games on. And then as the tournament sort of gets, sort of into it, it ends up being a bit bitty. But I think the difference with this is, whilst the group stage is going to be really good, I think by the next stage of the round of 32, which I think there'll be a lot of, you might end up having Brazil via Algeria or something like that, where you'd expect them to win. I think then the round of 16 will be really interesting because you will get some massive matchups in that round. I'm really looking forward to it. I think I always love the group stage because basically it's a right bum fight in it, and like I said, in a lot of these groups, I think you can normally predict the top team. I've probably done it 2 or 3 times now, and you can predict the top team. But for me, the second and third place is well up for grabs in these groups. Definitely.
Gaz?
Yeah, I think he's right. I don't think, and I know I'm quite pessimistic at the best of times. I don't think there's any guarantee that we finish above Ghana and Croatia. I really don't. I think Croatia, they're not the side they were. We know that, but there will be a threat against us. They have a good record against us. And then Ghana, I think people will underestimate Ghana. I think they're a decent side. You only have to look what happened when we played against Senegal not so long back, and they turned us over, didn't they, in the friendly? And they made us look pretty ordinary, to be honest with you. I think, and again, you're talking about African sides that are used to the heat. The heat won't bother them at all. I don't think there's any guarantee that we finish top of that group whatsoever. I don't know what you lads think.
Well, I think I think we finished top, guys. I think we have too much quality. Well, that's just me. I think a nation that should be really worried with what you've just said is Germany. I don't think the German squad is that good. And I think Ecuador, for me, are a bit of an interesting side coming into this. I think they could go quite far. They could be a bit of a special team. Ivory Coast normally have a decent setup, and Curacao. I mean, they've got no to lose, have they? They literally have got nothing to lose. So for them, hopefully that means that they don't have any fear factor. So I think the Germans are not in a good place. I also don't think Belgium are in a good place because I think all them sides that are in Belgium's group are used to the heat. So them for me are the two flops. And like I said, the two surprises that I've got are probably Ecuador and, somebody like Norway. I think Norway will be decent in this tournament. And it'll be really interesting to see how they get on. But I think we'll finish top of our group to answer your question.
Interesting because Norway laboured last night to a 1-1 draw against Morocco, and they weren't particularly good actually either over the course of the game.
That's group of death, by the way.
One because what Curacao have on their side is a very experienced manager and former Sunderland boss Dick Advocat in the dugout. So that'll be an interesting one to see. Couple of English managers in the tournament. Darren Baisley in charge of New Zealand. And of course, in one of the most difficult groups, I think, to call, Group F, you've got Graham Potter's Sweden.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a really, really good group to watch for a start. Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia. And the opening game of that, I can't wait for it. I think it might be on a stupid clock, no doubt. But it's Netherlands versus Japan. And I think that'll be a great game. So I've always enjoyed watching the Japanese national team play. They're just so good technically. And the same goes for the Dutch. Also, a couple of comments I've seen. Paul, he says he's got Dutch and Morocco as his dark horses. JB, he says that he reckons the Netherlands stand a good chance of winning this World Cup. Ian, a couple of comments here. Spain, France, Senegal, and Japan are the 4 sides that he picks as semi-finalists.
Spain to win it, but I think Group I is the group of death in this one.
Comes to that in a sec. Paul also saying that England will boss the group, get to the quarters, and we'll bottle it. Did you say Group I is the group of death?
France, Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. Yeah.
I'm not sure it can be a group of death, though, when you would fancy France, Senegal, and Norway to finish first, second, and third and all qualify for the next stage.
Yes, but you've got. This is what I'm saying though. You in a lot of these groups, you can probably say who's going to finish top, and you can probably say who's going to finish second and third. Which in this case you can. However, that then affects what placing you finish in the group really does affect your route to going on into doing something in the tournament.
Yeah,
You finish third. If you finish third in your group, you could be ending up playing somebody like Argentina.
Yes, but group of death, let's back me up on this. A group of death is where you're at risk of going out, full stop, not getting through in third and getting a tough draw. A group of death is where you're at risk of going, like full stop. So group F is probably more of a group of death because one of a fairly equal stature will go out. Nobody's surprised if Iraq finished bottom of that group.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because obviously in the past we're used to 2 teams going through from a group. The fact that now 3 can go through makes it difficult to call anything a group of death because there's normally. I know what Downs is saying in the respect.
We had that the Euros though.
We did, but it's in relative terms, it's a modern thing. It used to always be 2, didn't it? We're talking about Group F, and I'd actually looked at it before you two mentioned Group F, saying you thought it'd be a tough group. It is a tough group on paper, but you've got to remember Sweden got in through the back door, didn't they? They really did get in through the back door, did Sweden. I think the form has improved a bit since Potter took over, but they were really struggling, a year, 18 months ago. I think Japan looked really good when they played against us in the friendly not so long back. So it's interesting.
The biggest winners in this World Cup by a mile are Scotland. Let's all get it right. They will qualify out of their group for the first time in their entire history. So for every jock out there, they must be absolutely delighted with this 3 teams going through.
I'm not sure how to respond to that because I think Brazil will beat them. I think Morocco will beat them. Because if you remember, Morocco were semi-finalists at the last World Cup.
Yeah. And then Scotland go beat Haiti 6-0 or something.
I mean, Haiti beat New Zealand 4-0 the other night.
Yeah. And what does that say about us?
Exactly. We only put 1 past them. I don't think Haiti are going to be the whipping boys that people think they are. Certainly not against the Scots. And I quite like the Scots generally, but I wouldn't be. If I was Scottish, I wouldn't be sitting there thinking we're comfortably getting through even in third. Because all it takes is for them to lose to Brazil, Morocco, and Haiti to hold Scotland to a draw, but Haiti have a better goal difference or something, and Scotland are out.
How many third-place teams go through?
8.
There we go.
8, did you say?
8 out of the 12, yeah.
Right. So there's only,
I mean, if Scotland don't get through, they might as well never qualify for a World Cup ever again, in my opinion.
I mean, I guess the way you kind of look at that then is you look at picking the 4, like your 4 groups where you can guarantee where you would pick who's going to be rock bottom and out of the competition full stop. Right. So you probably look at Group J for Jordan, but again, you're never quite sure. Panama should be.
Uzbekistan. And Iraq. There's your 4.
I think, as Diaz said, every game will be difficult. I have to take it a game at a time. It's cliche, but he's right, I think.
Jordan, the 4 teams that will go out will be Panama, Iraq, Jordan, and Uzbekistan.
Who's in Uzbekistan's group? Congo, Colombia, and Portugal. I don't know. I'm not so sure on that. I can't remember who Uzbekistan group beat, actually.
I honestly believe, I stick by my statement. If Scotland don't get through, we might as well never qualify ever again. What's the point? Sorry, that is genuinely how I think.
Very quickly, that is the TV schedule for the next. Well, from when it starts for the first 6 days or so. There we go. Gaz, looking forward to staying up for some of them. I'll be honest, mate. For you and me that do the school run, this is an absolute bloody nightmare.
What about me for working, you Wally?
Well, the
No,
thing
you
is,
can just sleep in your breaks. You're all right.
I'm an insomniac quite often. Anyway, I struggle to sleep at the best of times, and quite often I'm awake in the night, which works out well. Like when, because I'm into my cricket as well. So when like England are playing in Australia, I'll quite often be up in the night watching the Ashes. So I'll probably end up watching some of these games. Yeah. He says? So one's at 5 o'clock, one's at 3 o'clock, one's at 2 a.m. It wouldn't be surprised if I'm watching some of them.
My problem is I sleep quite well, but now suddenly I want to be. I want. How do you become an insomniac, Gaz?
Try working. I work shifts, and that's when it happened to me. My sleep pattern got wrecked, and I've never been the same since.
It's coming home, boys. That's all that matters.
The hardest one is without a doubt going to be Haiti, Scotland at 2 a.m. and that question mark after. Because I do want us to stay up and watch that one. But the question mark then is after when you get to the end of that game, do you stay up the extra hour to then start on Australia versus Turkey at 5, knowing full well you're not going to get to bed until 7 a.m.
Do you try and get a power nap in between?
Luckily, I think that's on a weekend. That's on a weekend. That is my saving grace for that, I think, is that I can stay up till 7 and go out to bed and power nap it.
I take my comment back about kickoff times being suitable for the fans in their countries if Scotland have got Haiti at 2 a.m.
Yeah. It's all right for Haiti. It's all right for them.
Yeah, I'd love to know. I imagine it would have been decided, but I wonder because obviously I know in this country, in England, they've put the licensing laws back so that pubs can stay open till 1, 2 in the morning to take in the England games. If they've done that in Scotland and pubs can stay up till 4:30 in the morning because of Haiti versus Scotland, that'll be A, a great money spinner for the Scottish economy, and B, an absolute car crash.
Glasgow, honestly, the whole of Scotland as a nation will just shut down for the next 3 weeks.
Potentially.
It's all right.
Potentially.
It's all right. They've got the whiskey trade to boost them up. It's coming. It's coming home, lads. Anyway, it's coming home. So
well, there was a comment earlier saying that it might come home. I've lost it now. It was quite a way back, to be fair. But yeah, what we are going to try and do over the course of this World Cup, certainly on Monday to Fridays, is I'm going to try and jump on. I'm going to try and get somebody to come on with me during the day. On different days over the Monday to Friday periods of this World Cup, just to reflect on the games from what will have been the night before or morning before, and some of the games that will be taking place afterwards. So keep an eye out on our social media channels for those. We may also quite possibly end up doing a couple of watch-alongs, not necessarily on England games, but on other games during the competition. So if you want to join us for a waffle whilst the likes of Switzerland are playing Paraguay or some nonsense, then feel free to join us for those as well. Gaz,
Scotland 80, 2 a.m.
I mean, hey, if it helps keep me awake for it, it's a good start. If it helps keep me awake, that could work. That could work. We will leave it there. Do keep a check on our social media pages for all the things we've got coming up over the course of this World Cup and looking ahead into next season for our domestic game as well. A big thank you to Gareth Walker and to Stephen Downstow for joining me here on the show tonight. We'll see you soon here on the West Yorkshire Football Show. Good night.